What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. So as you can tell by the title, I will be ranking all 7 live-action Transformers films. Now, I repeat it again, only live-action. I'm not doing any animated stuff like the Prime movie or the 86 movie or the upcoming Transformers 1 movie because I haven't seen that yet and we're only doing live-action. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's get right down to the nitty-gritty. So, coming in last place, I gotta go with The Last Night. This was the first Transformers movie that I saw in theaters that I was genuinely sitting in the theater going, what the hell am I watching? Like, I legit wanted my time back after I watched that movie. Age of Extinction, I didn't feel that way. All the other movies, I didn't feel that way. I was just in the moment with the action and whatever was going on in the movie, but with The Last Night, I genuinely started tweaking in the theater. I don't know, the whole thing just felt weird and terrible in my opinion. The characters were handled awful. They made Cade this guy that's so stuck up and like full of himself kind of. The Optimus was such a side character, it felt like. They really didn't even delve into the Nemesis Prime aspect at all. Quintessa was so random and weird with how they teased the Quintessons in Age of Extinction. It's such a drastic difference than what we get with Quintessa here. It just reads that they changed it last minute and it turned out terrible. I think the military characters, that whole aspect of it wasn't too bad, but again, the whole TRF thing, hunting the Autobots, the good guys, it's something that I'm so over with now with humans. Just make it so they're working together and they can and we as the human race can distinguish between Autobots and Decepticons, the good guys and the bad guys. We're over this whole humans hate Transformers stick. I hate it at this point. Coming in at number 6, I gotta go with Age of Extinction. I enjoyed the movie when it first came out, like the first few years. It was a combination of being younger and just being excited about the Transformers characters having more screen time. Because before then, we were all begging for more screen time, and we finally got it with Age of Extinction, and more characterization too, which we also got. But at the same time, they made the Autobot team kind of wonky and just these gun crazy, action crazy weirdos kinda. I mean, it's cool if you make some of the characters like that, 1 or 2 on the team maybe. There's Autobots like that in every iteration of Transformers. That's totally fine. But the whole team, even Drift, making him kinda kill crazy when he's supposed to be this calm nature type sensei character, similar to animated Prowl, they make him seem at times. But then he just goes in trying to kill Bumblebee and trying to kill stuff on Lockdown Spaceship, and I don't know, it's kind of weird, the drastic change at times with his character and just the whole team in general. But with that said, they did offer some decent characterization for them. The human characters are absolutely terrible. I thought Cade was a bit better in this movie than The Last Night, but still nothing to write home about. And the whole daughter and boyfriend thing is so out of place. It was just so weird, if you guys know what I'm talking about with the whole underage thing. Why did they have to add this in a Transformers movie? It makes absolutely no sense. Again, with the whole humans hating Transformers thing, even though it was done a bit better here in Age of Extinction than The Last Night, and it was a bit more of a fresher idea at the time, it's still something that is a tad bit unnecessary and a little annoying in my opinion. And the Dinobots just getting absolutely wasted in the movie. They only show up towards the end of it, and they're really just background set pieces to make the final battle more cool looking and interesting. That's legit all it does. That's all they do, the whole team. And it's very unfortunate because there's some really cool designs and they could have done some really cool things story-wise and they could have actually talked in the movie, but nope. Coming in at number 5, the Bumblebee movie. Now, a lot of you are like, why the hell is he ranking it so low on the list? Well, I know I'm not the only one that thinks this, because I've seen a ton of people commenting this online over the last couple years. But I just find the Bumblebee movie kind of boring and a little like unnecessary to the story. I don't know, just the way they handled it with it just being Bumblebee on Earth and like making Optimus this cameo type character when he's like the main character of it all, and just a whole movie about Bumblebee just feels kind of safe and just dumb in my opinion. I don't know why it had to just be, well, I do know why. It was originally just supposed to be a solo movie, and then because of the failure of The Last Night, they had to sort of refit it for it to be a new universe kinda. I know all about that, but just looking back in hindsight with what we got now with Rise of the Beast and the upcoming G.I. Joe film, it just feels like we missed an opportunity to introduce something a bit more cohesive to lead into Rise of the Beast and the G.I. Joe sequel. Now, that is partly Rise of the Beast's fault with jumping the gun a bit too much with Unicron and the Predacons and Maximals. Still, it just feels boring. The action is just so... I wouldn't say bad, because the fight at the end is probably some of the best live action Transformers fighting we've seen. It feels a little bland, I'll say. I just feel like it's missing that extra kick for a Transformers movie. It is a vast improvement over a lot of the issues we've had with the base stuff, but just the human screen time just takes up so much of the movie, even though the movie is called Bumblebee, you know? But yeah, that's where it is at for me, number 5. Now for number 4, I gotta go with Rise of the Beast. You know, I really liked Rise of the Beast when it first came out. If you guys remember my review and my videos around that time. But over the past year, my opinion has changed on it a little bit. I do enjoy it a bit better than Bumblebee. It's got that extra kick to it that I really want to see in a Transformers story and movie. But it's just so much of just throwing stuff at your face and not really doing anything with some of the characters, and the tropey things with the villains and killing everybody off before we get a chance to really even know the characters and their history. They tease how Unicron acquired Scourge, but they don't go into it, and they kill him off at the end of the movie. Unicron is brought in, and he's just kind of there until the end of the movie. I don't know, it just feels... It feels forced a little, and there's absolutely no mention of the Decepticons except for like one little sort of reference, I guess you could say. They cut out the transit part, which could have brought the whole Autobot versus Decepticon thing into the mix a bit better. There's no end credit scene for Megatron. There's no teaser for Megatron. He's not even mentioned. I mean, he's supposed to be the big bad of everything that the Autobots are facing right now, and he's not even name dropped by any of the team members. That makes absolutely no sense to me. The human characters were cool, but I just feel like we need a Transformers movie that just gets straight to the point. And enough with all this setting up human characters and all this other stuff, which we're going to be seeing in the G.I. Joe movie, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is G.I. Joe, so I'll let it slide, you know. But yeah, that's where I am with Rise of the Beast right now. And the way they handled the Maximals, and especially the Predacons, just being a name drop and having a bunch of Scorponok drones in there makes absolutely no sense. And the Maximals themselves, they were cool. They did a bit more than the Dinobots did in Age of Extinction, but they still felt tacked on and really nothing amazing to me, especially with how they handled Cheetor and Rhinox. Just absolutely boring, but still a decent movie and a bit of a step in the right direction from the blunder of The Last Night and a bit of the boringness of the Bumblebee movie, in my opinion. But for number 3, getting into the top 3 now, and there's only 3 movies left. It's the classic Bay movies. I know this is gonna stir up a lot of controversy that Bumblebee movie and Rise of the Beast aren't high or whatever, but I mean, I just feel like they're more iconic action movies. When you ask the general public what Transformers movies you guys like people remember, they're not going to say Bumblebee movie. They're not going to say Rise of the Beast or The Last Knight. They're going to say Dark of the Moon, Revenge of the Fallen, or the first 2007 movie. That's just how it is, and that's how I feel too. It's not just because of me growing up with them. It's because I just genuinely enjoy watching them. I don't genuinely enjoy Rise of the Beast or Bumblebee movie or Last Night or Age of Extinction all the time or at all if we're talking The Last Night and Age of Extinction to an extent, but I do with the first three Bay movies. That's just how I am personally. That's my own opinion. If that's not how you feel, that's totally okay, and you can let me know in the comments what your top 7 is. But for number 3 here, I gotta go with Revenge of the Fallen. I had to put it at the bottom of the first trilogy because it's got a lot of amazing action. It's got some of the best action probably ever in a Hollywood American film, but the way they handle some of the characters, yes, Skid's Mudflap, the human characters being very over the top at times, some of the comedy and just some of the human scenes in general just feeling super easily like they could have just cut it out, and it would have made for a bit more of a cohesive, shorter runtime that makes it even more fun to watch than it already is. But some of the comedy is funny, I'm not gonna lie, but a lot of it just feels forced, and some of the characters, especially the Transformers characters, they don't get time to breathe. We barely see them, and instead we focus more time on Skids and Mudflap than somebody like Sideswipe or the RC triplets or Sideways, who just gets killed randomly at the beginning. He barely even gets time in his robot mode. So there is a lot of flaws to the movie, but it's still so enjoyable to watch, and such a classic hit action movie that just really is a part of pop culture at this point. You know, it's 15 years ago now. People always talk about this movie in Dark of the Moon in the 2007 movie, so it just makes sense that I put it at number 3, all things considered. Now, for number 2, I gotta go with Dark of the Moon. Now, I know this is probably a lot of people's favorites out of the first 3 Bay movies, and there's also a lot of people that don't really like Dark of the Moon, whether it be the human characters or just the twist with Sentinel and Ironhide dying. I really don't have a problem with any of that. I think the human characters and the action is probably the best of the Bay, or not the action, the comedy is probably the best of the Bay movies, and the action too is superb, but I wouldn't really say it's the best. I'd rather prefer Revenge of the Fallen or the first movie for the action, but it's still amazing. That highway chase scene is insane. The final battle is about as grand as it gets for an action movie or a Transformers movie in general. The twist I thought was really good. 7-8-year-old me sitting in the theater, June of 2011, watching Sentinel kill Ironhide and turn to the dark side, if you will, a little Star Wars reference there, was just absolutely insane, because I really wasn't keeping up with the leaks like that. I was just keeping up with the general news online on TFW and stuff like that here and there in between school. So just seeing that in theaters was absolutely crazy. I almost cried seeing Ironhide die. I really thought Sam was I thought he was good in this movie. I liked him a bit better than in Revenge of the Fallen. His little storyline I thought was decent. I thought it was a bit better than Revenge of the Fallen again. You know, the human characters still, it's something that takes away from the general story, but I still really love Dark of the Moon. And obviously, number 1 is the 2007 movie, the movie that started it all. And what can I say? This thing is just amazing. It's still flawed. Some of the scenes could have been cut out or cut down. Some of the human characters could have been cut out completely or just reworked to fit better within the movie. The Transformers could have been focused on a bit more. We could have gotten a bit more characterization and a bit more action with them fighting each other without the military interjecting within the final battle. But with all that aside, oh my goodness, this is such a grand moment in pop culture for movies that we don't even realize it sometimes when we're talking about this movie. The CGI is still top level to this day. It beats a lot of the action movies that we see now, and pretty much all the action movies we see now. The CGI is superb. It's crazy how well it's held up. The action, all the practical effects that we don't even see anymore in movies, that's just CGI'd or within some studio in Atlanta or overseas in London or something. It's just something that we don't see with action movies too much anymore, and it just feels special to watch, and it feels like you're watching something in a time capsule that is still aged absolutely amazingly well. The camera angles, the Decepticon designs still being absolutely evil, crazy, and amazing till this day. Jazz, I mean, he did die, but he still had his moments with Optimus with that little meetup scene after Bumblebee got captured and right before the final battle. Absolutely amazing. We got Optimus drifting in this movie, guys. I mean, come on. It can't get any better than this. Optimus and Jazz drifting together on a highway. It's just amazing. I have no other words for this movie other than absolutely fantastic. It does have some flaws that I did mention, but you know, it really is a movie that's going to go down in pop culture and movie culture as one of the greatest action movies we've ever gotten in humanity, in my opinion. But yeah, that's my whole list, guys. There's really not much else to it. I'm not really one to over-explain myself and go deep into every little detail when I'm explaining some of the things that I like about Transformers. It just is what it is. It's my opinion. If you guys have a different opinion, that's totally fine. Let me know in the comments below, what is your top 7 live-action Transformers film list. All my social medias are linked down below, including my email if you guys want to hit me up about business inquiries or if you want to message me about whatever. Or if you want to commission a diorama from me, because I make dioramas for people for their stop motions, photography, or just regular display shelves in your homes. You can either hit me up on any of my social media accounts or just email me and we can work out a deal. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye!